Welcome to DefineURadio After Dark Conversations, where real people have unfiltered conversations about the topics that influence the way we think, feel, and move. Each week with your host, Valencia Griffin Wallace.
Welcome to DefineURadio After Dark Conversations. I am your host, Valencia Griffin Wallace, and today we are discussing the year we can't forget because it just happened, 2020, and the year of the reset, takeover, awakening, whatever you want to call it, 2021. I'm excited. So joining the conversation today is Queen Lyvonne Copeland and Queen Shannon Ward. Queen, say hello.
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 Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Yes. Okay, now that that's out the way. Let's get into it. Whew, woosah. What was the biggest lesson you came out of 2020 with, Queen Shannon?
I will say maybe not so much as a lesson, but something that was just strongly reiterated to me was that everything that is tangible is temporary.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah, I had to. It kind of hit me and it helps me to not attach to anything, because when you realize it's temporary, you can't become attached to something that you know is not a permanent. So that's, for me, was the biggest thing that I got from 2020.
So in the way of external things, like anything external.
Right. Like, yeah, I mean everything, money, honestly, and not to sound harsh, but it's the reality. People, you know, jobs, vehicle, like, all materialistic things, all of it, anything that's not spiritual or soul driven, it's all temporary.
That's good. Queen Lyvonne, if you want to follow up.
Oh, I love what Shannon said.
Shannon always drop the mic. Ugh.
I mean, I know I love what she said, because even with the being people, because having experienced loss this past year taught me that. But I would say my personal biggest lesson that I took from 2020 is that expectations will fail you without effort.
I like that. Let me write that down. Hold on. Say that again.
I wrote yours down. I just got finished writing yours. I was like, I got to quote that. That's good.
Say yours.
Yeah,
it just taught me that our expectations, because one thing that 2020 taught me, and this will it covered everything for me, because we saw where our expectation in our government failed us. We saw where expectations in our police force, those that were sent to protect us, failed us. There was expectations from our employers that failed us. Expectations from our relationships failed us. And the one resonating sound from all of those was that we had an expectation, but there was no effort on anyone's part to uphold the expectation. I may have an expectation of you, but if you are not aware of it, what effort are you going to put forth to make sure my expectations are met?
That's good. That's good. I think I definitely can co-sign amen. Of course, the dog's barking. I definitely, just so disrespectful. I could co-sign what y'all said. In the way of, I think I was more prepared for 2020 than I thought, because when I look back at the years before, I had become more of a person that was like weeding out unnecessary things. So even with, shopping, I was already doing the, pick up, delivery, those things. As far as people, I was already, really weeding down people and things I felt were necessary. So the only difference with me, I would say the biggest lesson I came out of 2020 with was I was more prepared than I thought.
Mm.
Okay.
I just didn't know what I was prepared for. So 2020 showed me basically what I was always preparing for, because if y'all think about it, the last couple of years I've done, I still was speaking, but I did less. I was still writing, but I did less. Cut off some close connections, especially 2018, 2019. So 2020, it was kind of like, okay, you cleaned out the closet. Now it's time to like just take a moment to, enjoy that, I guess, or just take a moment to rest and breathe. Because it's not like I was pumping out, speaking every month or pumping out books every month. Like I didn't feel, you understand what I'm saying? Like I felt myself preparing to hibernate because I needed it. I just didn't know the whole world basically would be hibernating with me.
Right.
And I really realized that even though the way I, cut people and cut certain things off, it's not for everybody. But a lot of people probably saw in 2020, okay, well maybe Valencia was on to something, like deuces,
Well, I was going to say, Queen, something you said, it makes a lot of sense, because if you would think back, and especially anyone that's been following the Define You, I would say in 2019, we began seeing that. Even if you think about some of the shows that we talked about, from money, but you started doing these things, like you said, it was almost like in preparation. And sometimes I don't think we always realize what's coming. But I always feel like we are always being kind of guided into the direction of what we should be doing. We should always be preparing. And sometimes when things happen, we don't always see it. We just feel like, I don't know. Because I remember you saying this, like, you don't know why you had that feeling like I just needed to be, doing less, or I need to be charging more. You just had this, it was just something about you, I would say. And I can say, seeing that, especially the latter part of 2019, that you really did start, exemplifying some of those moves in preparation.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Definitely.
And then you think how we closed out 2019 with the retreat.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was, and really the retreat was like my last pouring. You know what I'm saying? So if you kind of look at it in a full circle perspective, it was like I gave, and gave. And I was kind of like feeling that like really towards the end of 2018. And then in 2019, I was like, you know what? It's something. It's, like you said, it's something. And it was even, with the way I was kind of stopped doing the lives publicly and just different things like that. And then it's like I kind of like needed to pour one last time so I could go into 2020 empty.
Available to be filled.
Right. So, you know what? Ain't nobody got time. Church, preach. But I feel better. It's almost like I slept for a year, even though Lord knows it was far from sleeping.
Right.
But I felt like I slept for a year. Like I wasn't worried about anything. And people that, inbox other people I know, like, Valencia, okay. Like if you should be worried about me, like if I cared, I don't want to say it like that, but real talk, people that I care about know how to get me without having to use a third party.
Exactly.
So, I mean, just real talk for anybody listening, I love you all. I wish everybody much success. But, if you had to go to a third party to find out what was going on with me, you probably weren't that important on the personal side.
Pretty much.
So the next question, what did you discover about yourself and other people, and kind of just reflecting on 2020, Queen Lyvonne?
Oh, it goes back to that expectation. And I would say, especially at the latter part of the year, I realized that people, one, will be people. And people, I would say 2020 really allowed us to see, and I say us, and it could be just more me, but allowed us to see people for who they really were, who they really are. You hear people say, a person will put their money and their time where their heart is. And for one of the things that I noticed, and it happened at the end of the year with the passing of my grandmother, and my sister and I, we were a little taken back at the lack of, and I don't want to say support, but the reach. The reach out. People asking how you were doing. I know we're in the midst of a pandemic, and people don't want to come to your house and don't want to visit. But I just thought back to the times when someone died. Usually, there's food everywhere because people are bringing food to your house. They're calling, and it just seems so almost sad, because when we walked into my mother's house, and it's like, okay, nobody, like nobody besides our family, but outside there was no one. And we got a few texts from some people, but people that we expected to be there, that we expected to support, to reach out, we didn't see them and we didn't hear from them.
Wow.
And so it made me really realize, people, our expectation in people, it really showed me people and where people's hearts were, and where people, it was a little disheartening, to experience, because I'm thinking, even in the midst of a pandemic and having to be, social distancing, isn't there still a way? I just feel like if your heart is really there, you find a way. Because I know one of the things, my husband, we got a card, and he was like, "Who is that from?" We was reading, and it was a sympathy card, and I could say it was from Queen Val. And he was like, "Wow, that was really sweet." And it was, and that didn't require a lot of effort, but it was just the thought that her heart
it did require a lot of effort, because
Jesus,
the envelope it came with, it did not fit in there.
Jesus.
Okay. So therefore, I had to find another. I was like, you know what?
I'm sitting in this card.
How much effort did it take, though? It didn't take a lot for you to find the envelope that fit.
You don't know my envelope supply at home.
Lord,
I don't even know what I put. I think I put it in a book mailer. What I put it in.
It was a pretty big envelope for the
Oh my God.
But it was the thought by, I had texts that, you all, I can say you all text me and asked me how I was doing and making sure that I was okay. And it was people that I feel that, that are right here. Both of you all are in miles, hundreds of miles from me. And you all checked in. And I have people that are right here that didn't check in. And so that is something that it just taught me about people. And it really made me change the way I thought going into 2021 when it comes to relationships. The move will be a lot different this time around.
You in touch, bless some
messed
souls.
Up now.
I know. Look, that's why I said she didn't bless some souls in her gospel gangster way.
Period.
That was slick shade.
I don't even think that was slick.
It was. One thing I definitely want to say to both of you queens, I know both of y'all have had some close, losses this year. And, of course, y'all know I'm always here. And I think, it showed who I care about. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, like I can't be willing to fight somebody behind y'all and not be able to send a text or something or card or whatever and say, "Hey, you okay?"
Right.
Because then if I say I fight somebody behind you and don't even acknowledge, your grief or your loss in the moment, then I'm not the G that I'm supposed to be for my sisters. So yeah,
Hashtag
Queen
amen.
Shannon had hashtag to the
And
hashtag.
Lord.
I'm done.
I guess if I had to say, I mean, I 100% co-sign with what Queen Lyvonne said. She learned about people. In addition to that, I'm going to go on the petty side. Um, I
Ooh.
find that people really are absolutely, truly just all about themselves.
Mm,
Mm.
And the craving for attention that they need and want to require of you to make them feel better about their life is ridiculous to me. I
mm,
don't even know any other way to say that. Like
Mm.
I've really paid attention to this. It's just I don't know. Like everybody has had something going on within 2020.
yeah.
I
True.
mean, just around the board. But when you get those people that feel that their situation was so much more difficult than yours, and
Mm,
you should break your back to be for theirs.
Mm.
Meanwhile, they never acknowledged yours.
mm,
And no,
Amen.
and it's not, oh, well, you're doing tit for tat and you have to be the bigger person. Can I just tell y'all, 2021, I'm not the bigger person. I'm just saying that.
Ah,
I'm not that.
that's the
that part.
that's the
I'm
plate.
not that. I'm sorry, because being the bigger person always leaves you empty, always leaves you hurt, always leaves you left alone, standing to handle everything on your own, while they walk off because you were the bigger person and you try. I'm not doing that. I'm over it.
Mm,
So for me, I've learned that about people, and that's how I'm choosing to deal with them. It is what it is. If that's how you wanted to rock with that, then you rock with that. I'm good. I'm not going to chase behind you to figure it out, to fix it, to even care about it. Because at the end of the day, again, you, my friend, are temporary. Doesn't
mm,
matter to me. Now, what I've learned about me, um, I'll say it this way. This year has been, although it's been difficult, it also has been my most prosperous year.
mm,
Mm.
And it's weird. To most people, it's probably weird, but because I like, I haven't been on Facebook like that, like social media. I don't even miss it, to be honest. I do not miss any of it. And I just started focusing on me and what I, need to grow with inside of me and what I need manifest in me and how I need to focus more on my spirit and my dreams that I'm having and the interpretation, all these things that I focus on. And what I found was that when I take my mind off of, I got to make money. I got to,
mm,
stay relevant on social media. I got to do this. I got to do that. As I begin to not pay attention to those things flowed in. So the
Wow.
money just kept coming. Like I said, this is, and I'm not even talking about stimulus and all that people run. I need my stimulus, and my whole thing was, if you're sitting around waiting on a stimulus
You
and
got a
you're
bigger
working still,
problem.
that's a problem.
You got a
right.
bigger
That's a major
problem.
problem, right? But this year, but 2020, I was able to actually do some investments, do some different things with stocks and CDs and looking into purchasing property. I've
Mm,
been blessed to the, like I said, when I'm not thinking about it and it's not what I dwell on, I'm blessed in that sense.
Mhm.
Um, and I realized that honestly, time has been such a construct. It really has. And when you take out the timing factor of a lot of things, you don't think about them the way you used to. And I just learned to like just go with the flow of life and not harbor so much on the things you want to do or the things you need. You put it out there and be and done with it. And then you continue to move in the direction of life and just let it come. And it just comes out of directions you had no expectation of it coming from. You didn't think that it would come from there, but bam, there it is. So I learned that about myself, that, I have to just take my mind off of a lot of things that I wanted or felt like I needed, because they're coming to me. They're going to come regardless. So that was one thing I learned about me. But yeah, people, if you're listening, I'm not the bigger person in 2021. So get your life together.
Hashtag PPG. Hashtag in order to hurt my feelings, I would have had to have been born with them. Hashtag next
Lord
question.
have mercy. Lord have mercy.
I was telling somebody that the other day about like not caring about what people think about, what I'm doing, where I'm going, where I've been, blah, blah, blah. And this person was saying, she's working on getting there. She's young. She's working on getting there, right? Because people don't know. They see the flower, like, I kind of got to gardening over the in 2020, like people see the production, like the end result, the beautiful delicious tomatoes, but they didn't see me out there watering it and putting forks up to keep the rabbits out and all of those things I had to do. So that really taught me something just about life as well. Like there's always a way, even when you don't know, because if you know me, I'll kill a plastic plant.
Jesus.
That's me.
But I think I had to do that to learn. So even with like putting forks in the ground to try to keep the rabbits out. Okay. So that worked for a little bit. It didn't work, enough. And I had to do something else. And the tomatoes became my babies. I became protective of them. And I was able, when they came at first, and this a whole analogy in real life. They came at first like little by little. I watched them grow and turn green and turn red, like just a few. And I took some to somebody, and it was all I had, but it was just a little bit, right? When I had like 5, 6 of them. And they kind of made a little comment like this like little bitty tomatoes or something like that. And I got offended. Like, wait a minute, this homegrown, you can't get this from Walmart.
Exactly.
Few weeks, a month later, whenever, all of a sudden when I still tended to it. I tended to it more. Like, don't disrespect my doggone tomatoes. This is literally the work from my hands.
Right.
And when I tell you, like, it started putting off 20 at a time was turning red. Like, literally, it got to the point where they were coming out and growing and turning red and ready to be pulled quicker than I could go.
Wow.
And that showed me a lot. Like, from a little red seed that I just thought like it was a bad seed. I'm serious. Like, what's going on? How long this take? Everything else, because I didn't know anything about what I was doing, but I knew what I wanted at the end result.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to be patient. I had to learn a few things along the way, and I reaped what I sowed and didn't give nobody none.
I was just going to say, I hope you ain't get them none since they had
I
something to say.
know. About your little tomatoes.
Okay.
Shoe weed.
And still sent them a picture of what they look like. And when they act, no, you can't.
I sure did. That petty in me.
Yes.
I sure did. Look,
Queen, but listen, you said something that I thought was a good point to bring out. And I'm not sure if any, listeners or Queen Shannon, how you may feel also. But would you say that during 2020 you discovered some things about yourself? Because like you said, you discover, it's like we had time to actually sit and listen or to learn. Really, I say we had time to learn ourselves.
I would say I did, because I was really at a point, like I love speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love being away from home.
Mm.
Because home is something, I never like had, you know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
now that I have a home where you come in here and you feel it when you come in here, like I love the speaking part, but like being away from home like days at a time, and like that really had been weighing on me over the years. And I think 2020 taught me everything I need I have in me and around me.
Absolutely.
And I don't have to go anywhere to get what I need and to be able to produce for others
Wow.
and still change. Because once you have one of my tomatoes grown by these hands, you ain't gonna be able to go nowhere else. It taught me the difference as well, between when you do something with your hands, like it's your baby, from seed to plant, to from seed to tomato. It taught me that versus if I bought one. So, and I say that to say, like, the things that's in you, and even though you may not know what you're doing, you just know what you want the end to be. It's gonna be better than anything anybody could ever buy. Any manufactured fake, however, because I always be talking about fake people. So even though so if you look at it that way, like with any, and it really taught me that, like, number one, you can't compare what I have to stop comparing what that seed that's in me with the plant that I'm, really just learning along the way, to something somebody else is faking. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that makes sense.
It made
It
a lot of
does.
sense.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Mm-hmm. And
Lord,
then
there
the
she
dog
go.
started barking on cue.
Yeah, that was the dog agreeing. Mm-hmm.
I
That
know.
they so loud and ornery. So how are you going to apply, everything, the revelations, everything that went on in 2020? How are you going to use that to reset and apply it and to go forward in 2021? Queen Shannon?
Um, so for me, I don't necessarily say reset for a year. And that's a whole nother conversation. But I actually, as I learned it, I started putting it into practice. So as I begin to understand, like I said, that everything is temporary, I actually have my little marquee on my wall right next to my TV, that when I sit up in my bed, that's the first thing I see. So that every morning I remind myself it's all temporary and attached to nothing. And as I remind myself of that, it, you know, I go up throughout my day, and just a small thing, like, it helps me throw out some things, because you know how we hold on to some stuff. Oh, it's got sentimental value. It's got this, or this person bought it, and I don't want to get rid of it. And I've had things from my son's father. My son is 12, and my son's father died when he was 3.
Mm,
So, and I've held on to things that long. And I had to tell myself, this is material. You can never,
mm,
it's not, you're not going to hold on to him with this. You still have the memory of him and the love of him. You release this mess here because you can't even fit these shoes anymore.
Wow.
So it was things of that. So it helps me. So even as I go throughout the day, even, just starting off this month and this year, these last couple days, it's helped me just go through so many different things here in the house, or just different things that I encounter, people I listen to, or people that I haven't heard from. And it's easy to just release it and not have any kind of feeling about it. So, I've already begun to put these things that I've learned about myself into practice, and to make them a daily habit for me, a daily reminder, daily routine, and to not hold on to anything. If it's not prosperous to my soul or my spiritual growth,
mm.
I release it same day. It's no point in carrying it till the next day.
Just go ahead and release that Cash App. Um, woo. Queen Lyvonne.
I will be just piggybacking, picking right up where Shannon left off, because that was one of the things I came into 2021 saying, is that I don't want to use the word reset again, because I was thinking about every year, I use that term so often. Okay, y'all, it's time to reset. And then I had to think, wait a minute, why do I want to go back to where I was? Because that's what a reset does.
There it is.
People say they want to reset and reboot, but all that does is take you back to your original format, take you back to where you started. And I was like, I'm not in that place. I don't want to go back there, because I'm, as Queen Shannon said so nicely, you know what? I cannot be the bigger person any longer. Because if I reset, that's what I have to do. I have to go back to being the nice, the nice girl. And she just can't do that again. So I have been saying, and it's pretty much been my word for this year, is that I'm in a place of recovery. I want to recover. I need to recover from some things that happened in 2020 and even previous to 2020. I need to recover so that I can be better and I can build to move forward. Because what I truly want to get out of 2020, everything that it taught me, I want to take those lessons and I want it to be that foundation that's going to be my sounding board. I want to be able to propel to be bigger, to be greater, and to be better. I want to heal. I want to grow. I want to flourish. I want to nurture. But I know I can't go back to where I was. So I have to allow myself to be in a state of recovery. So that is how my vision for 2021 is recovering from everything that I thought was wrong and everything that I knew was wrong.
With that being said, that's all I could say. I'm going to say this before we kind of close out. Remember in 2019, I'm 99.9% sure it was 2019, and we did like a 10-year lesson review or something. You remember?
It was.
And I look at our relationship, our growth together, and that thing that we did before 2020 even happened. Like we evaluated our life, the good, bad, every year. So it was like 2020, I think, was the year that we really was able to take everything we learned previously and allow it to soak in and clear up some areas that we needed to go forward in 2021.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yes, it does.
It does. I mean, it ties perfectly into with your gardening, message. We took those seeds from 2019 because we did that 10-year review, and we took that last decade from the 2010s, and we allowed those seeds to be planted in 2021. And like you said, we had time, and the world allowed us time to actually begin to peel back, to nurture, to grow, in those places where we saw, dang, I did that. Or for some of us, we realized our strength because we didn't realize how much we had truly gone through until we did that. So,
and the way I see it, and just going off this whole, the plant and the seed part, in 2019, we planted the seed, but in 2020, the seed had to be covered. So the seed can't grow if it's not covered. If it's just left exposed like that, it's not going to get what it needs. 2020, that whole year, for most people, a year of kind of darkness, quote unquote. That was the year of covering. So now we can grow and we can blossom.
Come on now. Girl, I wish I could throw my phone at you. Yes, Shannon, bring it on home. Yes.
Listen, I'm just feeding off of y'all. It just came to me as you
Yes.
all was speaking. So we working this together, honey.
But that is perfect. It's perfect because you think, like you said, being covered. You think about that dirt, that darkness,
Mm-hmm.
and that is truly what 2020. You hear people saying that it really was a time of darkness for us,
Absolutely.
but we did. Wow, it goes back when Val, like you said, that we didn't even realize what we was preparing for.
That's a whole
Wow.
I can't even say. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
However, using all of what we just came up with, I'm not sharing everybody is not worthy of my tomatoes in 2020.
Period.
Period
Exactly.
with a T, a period, exclamation point, and
Yes.
all of the above. Queens. That's why I love y'all.
Yes.
How can the audience follow you and connect with you? Queen Lyvonne?
I am Lyvonne Copeland on all social media platforms. Website is www.lyvonnecopeland.com. So just reach out, connect, and follow.
Come on through with the I am.
Bam. You can look for me, The Real Shaydon, on Instagram and Twitter, Shaydon Facebook, and website shaydonmusic.com.
Yes.
Boom shakalaka. So woo, that was a great show.
Yes.
So audience, kings, queens, what did you learn in 2020? What are you looking forward to in 21? How can you just apply, like, don't waste the lesson, right? Because applied knowledge is however it goes, like knowledge isn't powerful, applied knowledge is powerful. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know at Define You on Instagram and Facebook. With that being said, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you tune in, subscribe to the show, and follow us. Until next time, have conversations that mean something. Peace.
You have been listening to DefineURadio After Dark Conversations. If you learned something, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends, family, and foes. Make sure you go over to DefineURadio.com and subscribe for monthly giveaways and more.